fields are breathing slow. There's a mother calling softly for the child she came to know. We took her milk, we took her baby, called it custom, called it need. But the earth remembers every bond we break to feed our greed. Bring the cows back to their mothers, bring the milk back to the young. Let no baby be taken before their life's begun. Bring them home.
I'd like to just briefly introduce Anne. Anne Casperson is a journalist, and she's a writer and a storyteller. Anne has been an activist for many, many years. She's written a book that children got to tell their story, children under occupation in war, and she's worked extensively with human, animal, and earth liberation throughout the world, and is a dear friend and a beautiful spirit. So thank you, Anne, for leading this panel with Lena Ella and Dana, if we can bring Dana up. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Tommy. And we are so happy to welcome these two amazing activists from Animal Save movement, Lena Ella and Danae Tonge, and both with a very big experience of activism regarding animal rights and bearing witness all around the world. I know at least Lena Ella have worked all around the world. And I know that Dana has been working a lot in Canada. And Lena Ella is a full-time animal rights activist based in Vienna. And she's the regional coordinator for the Animal Save movement in the German-speaking countries. I'm pregnant with twins, so soon she will also, she's looking forward to standing in solidarity with animal families and advocating for their liberation, also as a mother. And Danae Tonge is a Canadian animal rights activist with a very broad experience, and she's also a human education advocate and a mother, leader of Manitoba Animal Save, and a country liaison for Canada for Animal Save movement. And she's also working inside schools with connecting students with compassion-based education. And we are so thrilled to have you both here. And please, Dana, would you like to start your presentation? And after that, you, Ella, come, if that's okay with you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Anne, and to Tammy and to Dr. Salish Rao and many others for organizing this amazing convergence. It's just incredible. And I am so honored to speak today with my colleague Lena Ella on Motherhood Without Species. Today, I'll speak a little bit about the dairy industry and then my personal experiences, and then I'll end with what I believe is a path forward towards a future where motherhood is honored across species. I'd like to begin with a story, so if you wish, you may close your eyes. Imagine a mother. She's just given birth to a healthy baby boy. The baby cries softly and the mother comforts him. She pulls him close and kisses his forehead. The baby stops crying and closes his eyes, comforted by his mother. The mother is exhausted after giving birth, but at peace. She has finally met the baby she carried for 9 months, and the bond they share is like nothing else. A short while later, a man comes in and pulls the baby away from the mother. The mother desperately fights to keep her baby, but the baby is carried out and the door locked. The baby boy is confused and afraid. The mother will search and cry for her baby for days afterward, but will never see him again. You can open your eyes. What did you see as I was talking? Did you see a human mother in a bed, or did you see a cow mother in a barn? This story is a tragedy, but it is so common. As we know, this is standard practice in the dairy industry and across all animal agriculture. We systematically separate mothers and babies, but especially in dairy. Like all mammals, cows must be pregnant to produce milk. Dairy cows are mothers. When I was younger, I remember hearing the term dairy cows, and I assumed they were cows that just always gave milk. And much later, I realized that dairy cows only have milk because they are mothers. Cows are artificially inseminated every year and are pregnant for 9 months, just like us. Cows are typically separated from their mothers hours or days after birth to prevent them from drinking the milk that humans want and humans will sell. A cow's natural lifespan is around 20 years, but cows used for dairy are often depleted and spent after just 4 to 6 years, and they're sent to slaughter, often to become ground beef sold at fast food restaurants. The female calves become part of the milking herd and join their mothers and their sisters there. The male calves are viewed as byproducts because they don't produce milk. So they will often be kept alive for a short time to become veal or they are killed soon after birth. Canada has 1 million dairy cows. Globally, there are 270 million cows used for dairy. These are mothers trapped inside their own motherhood. Each one experiencing the suffering we can't imagine. It's absolutely horrific. But I would like to share a story about a rescued mother cow named Molly. I'm going to share my screen to bring up a picture. All right, there she is. So my friends at the Little Red Barn Sanctuary here in Winnipeg rescued Molly when she was 8 months pregnant. Almost 30% of dairy cows like Molly are sent to slaughter pregnant. When she was rescued, Molly had just a number and she had no name. So the Little Red Barn named her Molly after their great-grandmother who died in childbirth in 1932. Molly was sent to slaughter from a dairy operation who was producing an excess of milk, and because Molly was an older cow, that made her disposable. The Little Red Barn purchased Molly with community donations, and they brought her home to her sanctuary. 1 month after her rescue, Molly gave birth to a healthy baby girl named Rooney after the activist Rooney Mara, and Rooney became the first calf that Molly was able to nurse and raise as her own. Molly was an incredible mother, and as Rooney grew, Molly was always beside her. But after a while, Molly's frail, aging body caught up with her, and she left this world peacefully with her family around her. Rooney and all her cow family gathered around Molly and stood by her for over 24 hours. They held a vigil. Cows love and grieve just like we do. I love Molly's story because it is a powerful story of rescue and motherhood and something that should be so natural, keeping your own child. I think often we forget that animals are mothers too. Motherhood is a universal experience. We all love our babies and want to protect them. So for this year's inaugural International Calf and Cow Mother's Day, we are organizing a cleanup day at our local farmed animal sanctuary and honoring the mothers that live there. We want to have compassion in action. We will help around the sanctuary and we have some painting work to do. And we're also going to bring things that the sanctuary needs. I'm thinking we will also do a short reading and take a few moments to celebrate the healing that the sanctuary does. And perhaps everyone will bring a flower and put it in a joint vase as a symbol for this day. I'm still discussing exactly what it will look like with the sanctuary owner, but that is the idea so far. A day to spend our time and energy helping at a place of hope and rescue and family. Sanctuaries are truly amazing places. I was so touched when I was asked to speak here today because this particular issue of dairy cows and mother cows is especially close to my heart. When my daughter was born almost 11 years ago now, I would be up with her at night, and during those long nights with a newborn is when the world is quiet and your thoughts get loud. I had been vegan for many years at this point, but this new experience of being a mother profoundly changed me. As I breastfed her, I would find myself constantly thinking of all the mother animals and all the baby animals who could not be with their mothers. And I would especially find myself thinking of all the mother cows and their calves. It was so cruel and so unfair. And I knew that if I were a different species, motherhood would be very different for me. That haunted me, and I knew that I had to do more. Motherhood transformed me into an activist. So I began to look for others who felt the same way with my little baby with me, and I eventually found my way to Manitoba Animal Save, where I joined as a co-organizer and later became the sole organizer. Manitoba Animal Save works on farmed animal issues here in our province, such as the dairy industry and live horse export. We hold protests and rallies and vegan food giveaways, and we work with our local farmed animal sanctuaries. We used to hold regular vigils before laws were passed here in our province preventing us from going to transport trucks and slaughterhouses and farms and auctions. And we miss going there, and we try to find other ways to center the animals in our work because this is all for them. We have to go to the places where they are because farmed animals' lives are hidden from the public. Society doesn't want to see them because they're inconvenient. Somehow the milk ends up at the store and we don't have to think about it too much. But we can only change things if we confront them and if we start telling the truth about where they come from. What makes the dairy industry unique is that motherhood itself becomes the product. Because cows only produce milk after giving birth, the entire system depends on repeatedly impregnating female animals and separating them from their babies. Humans take the milk meant for their calves and sell it. So dairy is really built on the manipulation and exploitation of motherhood itself. And this is why cultural conversations around motherhood, such as this convergence, are so powerful. When people understand dairy as reproductive exploitation rather than just food, it reframes everything. I remember a night several years ago when I was still fairly new to bearing witness and to activism, when a friend and I went to a gas station here just outside the city where we live, where we know that transport trucks often come to park to get fuel or for the drivers to get food. And so we went there late one night, and it was January and freezing cold. I think it was about minus 35 degrees with the wind chill. And there were these two transport trucks parked side by side with calves inside. And you could actually see the heat coming off their bodies into the space between the trucks. And we stood there in their body heat and bore witness to those babies. The drivers came out after a while and spoke to us and asked what we were doing, and we told them. And they explained that they love their animals and they take very good care of them. They mentioned the straw bedding they put on the floor of the truck. And we asked them where they were driving the calves. They told us they were taking them to a slaughterhouse in Thunder Bay, which is about 8 hours away. And that really struck me then and now, the disconnect people have with taking care of animals, or how they think they may be taking care of animals, and to what end. Because the truth is, most animals we eat are babies. Chickens are slaughtered at just a few weeks old, pigs at a few months old, and calves are separated from their mother almost immediately. I do want to speak briefly on another related issue that we work on here in Canada. And I'm just going to bring up a picture again. Okay, so this is a photo I've taken at the Winnipeg International Airport because Canada live ships horses overseas to slaughter, primarily to Japan. What happens is that horses are brought to the airport very late at night. They're unloaded from trucks and they're crated in a wooden crate with 3 to 4 other horses and driven out to the tarmac to await being loaded onto the cargo plane, which will fly them to Japan. By Canadian law, it is legal for horses to be in transport for up to 28 hours, during which time they receive no food, water, or rest. Once they land in Japan, they are unloaded into trucks, and the trucks are sprayed with disinfectant, which the horses will often try to lick off because they are so extremely thirsty. The horses are driven to a quarantine location for a few weeks, then taken to a feedlot where they will be fattened up and eventually slaughtered for a delicacy known as bashishi, or raw horse meat sushi. And some of these horses are also mothers, and many are still babies themselves. There are records of horses I documented being unloaded and crated that went onto the cargo flight that later miscarried and died in transport. It is illegal to ship pregnant horses for slaughter, but it happens. So we see the mothers there as well, and the babies at the airport and on the planes, and we're all fighting for them too. I have 2 children. My daughter is 10 and my son is 7. And when they were younger, I brought them to protests and vigils with me, more out of necessity as they were quite little and needed to be with me most of the time. And so they came with me everywhere. As they get older and understand more, they often want to come and be part of things. They love to hand out free vegan food at a giveaway, or hold signs at a protest, or give out leaflets and help clean up at our local sanctuary work days. It's important for me as their mom to normalize activism for them, so it's not this far away, scary thing. And so they can see people working together to change things, and they can grow up around the helpers. I want them to know that if they don't like something, they can work to change it. And they have a voice and they can use it, and they'll find others like them who are also fighting for something. Our world has a lot of problems, and I truly believe that most of our problems are connected. How we treat animals is how we treat people, and how we manage our earth is how our children will live. These are not separate issues. They come from the same way of seeing the world, a way of seeing that says, take what you can no matter the cost, that empathy has limits. When that type of thinking becomes normalized, it shows up everywhere. In our food systems, in our environmental decisions, in our education systems, and into the systems we pass on to our children. But if that's the root of the problem, it also points us towards the solution. And it makes sense that if the problems are connected, then so must be the solutions. If we want a future that honors motherhood beyond species, we have to ask ourselves, where does that understanding begin? It begins with how we teach our children, with what they learn at home, in school, and in their communities. Because children don't start with disconnection, they start with empathy. They see a baby and understand that they need their mother. They see an animal and want to help. They want to be leaders. Our children are inheriting this earth, and our earth desperately needs people who love her and her creatures. We don't have to teach children to care. They are already curious and caring and want to help and be involved. It's just a question of if we allow that care to continue and our willingness to expand who we include in that care. So many of us have grown up having to compartmentalize our feelings and our love. We can love our pet dog, but not the mouse or the spider, and we were encouraged to recycle for the planet, but forced to eat hamburgers. We grew up with social conditioning and then spent years finding our way back. Imagine if we did not have to find our way back because we never left. We never lost our natural compassion, but were encouraged to nurture it. If we can protect motherhood beyond species, we don't just change how we treat animals, we change everything. And if we raise a generation who do not put restrictions around their empathy and care, they won't need to be persuaded to change the world. They will have already done it. Thank you.
Thank you so, sorry, thank you so much, Dana, for this beautiful presentation. And please, Lena Ella, now your turn. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Let me just share my screen. 1 second. Okay. Alrighty. Well, let's start. Okay. So, hi everyone, my name is Lena. I'm very honored and excited to be here and to talk to you about motherhood without species. And my topic will be from hidden realities to collective action, how International Calving Cows Mother's Day in Europe will look like. Upsy dopsy. Yeah. First of all, I want to thank you for inviting me to speak today. I'm really excited to be here. And also, I want to thank everyone in the audience for holding space for the heartbreaking reality of the dairy industry, which my colleague already so well described. I want to tell you what I'm going to be talking about. I want to briefly mention privilege, which is very important to me to always mention when I give a presentation. Then I want to share with you some experiences with the dairy cows inside farms and slaughterhouses that I made in my animal rights journey. I want to say that don't worry, I won't show graphic footage today. If you need it for outreach and educational purposes, then you can always reach out to me and I'm happy to provide anything. And then we'll talk about how Witness brought me to better outreach. And finally, I will share with you how motherhood has impacted me and also what we're going to do in Vienna, my hometown in Europe. And at the very end, I'll give you my contact in case you need to or want to contact me. Okay, first, I want to talk privilege. As I mentioned before, it is super important for me to tell you that when people look at my animal rights journey, me traveling around, the things I do, sometimes they get a bit intimidated or have all sorts of feelings around it. And I want to say that, of course, there are factors that help me doing my kind of animal rights work, which is not worse or better than others. I think we are all equal and we all try what we can and we try to use our own strengths and forces to speak up for animals. But I just want to also always mention that, of course, what helped me in my journey isn't necessarily applicable for others or for all. For example, I've benefited from being a white, cisgender, able-bodied woman, born and raised in Europe, free from war and all sorts of things. I've had great education, the ability to learn languages, which is purely a privilege. One can't see it differently. And I also always want to say that beyond privilege and also personal strengths, luck can shape the access to hidden places as well. And I will show you a deep dive into the hidden places I got myself into. But yeah, it's very important for me to acknowledge and to humble myself, because I know how special it is that I was, let's say, able to travel to begin with and then do animal rights activism there. Okay, today I will be talking about my filming inside dairy farms and other things. But first of all, let's look at the filming inside the farms. What it's like to expose the reality using human presence and compassion, which is a little bit of the way I naturally decided to do things in activism. I want to share the activism insight here that due to our research and experience, human presence in videos and photos can really increase the viewer engagement, and we use this as an important tool. So for us, it's not a selfish, oh, look at me, how I try to help the animals kind of perspective around selfishness and all the things that one could think of. But we see it as a very strategic and effective action-taking way of dealing with the scenario. So what we try to do in the kind of work I do is we try to foster compassion in people and help them, give them almost like offer them a bridge to connect to animals emotionally through the emotion that they can see in us and the care we provide for animals. So typically when I am, let's say, inside a dairy farm or any kind of farm for that matter, I will be also seen bearing witness to the animals. I will be in the footage. We've just seen that people just can connect more, and sometimes through me crying, they start getting emotional. And obviously I would wish for an animal to be enough and their suffering to be enough and to speak loudest to the audience we want to reach. But I also want to acknowledge and simply use the strategy if I can help it, and if I'm in the picture with the animal, trying to show them love and care for the first time and also the last times in their life most often, then of course we will use that as a tool, as I said. I want to show you now some examples from dairy farms. Let's just go through them. They are not way too long. Here you see me bearing witness to a dairy calf, trying to comfort me, licking off my tears. Here we see another dairy calf that, as most of you will know, doesn't get their mother's milk, but some milk alternative usually. Being a very young baby, it's very normal to see the, oh, my English, umbilical cord, the cord thingy that I think it's you know what I mean. It's very usual to see that hanging still from their belly, which shows how soon after they have been given birth to, they are taken from their mom. This was really a touching moment for me. I remember this one very well. Here you can see me, and this is all footage that we then share worldwide and try to reach people and educate them on dairy. Here we see another dairy baby that is longing for their mother's breast. And as activists, we can't help but offer them our hand for a brief moment of connection, but it also almost feels like betraying them because it is not what they want. It's not what they deserve. And we are just left being there, witnessing and looking into their eyes and trying to remember them forever and telling their stories as best as we can. And through showing our own vulnerability, our emotions, our tears, our agony, we try to reach people and educate people on the victims of the dairy industry in this specific scenario. Another thing that I do often, or used to do more often in the past, is filming inside the slaughterhouse and on the kill floor, which to many of you might sound very strange. As an activist, you wouldn't expect me being there, but I see it as my duty to go to those hidden places and try to, through love-based activism that we keep very dearly in within Animal Safe movement, love-based, non-violent animal rights activism, we try to foster good relationships and somehow get ourselves in those hidden spaces to then, record what is actually happening. And again, this is a repetition. The activism insight is that human presence in videos can increase viewer engagement. Therefore, just from experience, we've learned if we just show the slaughtering of an animal, people scroll away, can't be bothered, don't want to see it. However, if there's let's say in my case, a young woman being there, standing there with the victim, it's off-putting and irritating, but certainly interesting for many meat eaters and maybe also vegetarians in that case. And we use that. So again, it's our strategic and effective action taking. And as I said before, we use this as a bridge for people to, if they not themselves just yet feel for animals, don't just yet have those emotions, haven't ever thought about animals this way, they might be kind of catching something from our own emotions and seeing us caring deeply for those animals who are deemed to be food on someone's plate. At today's presentation, I won't be talking about this in length, or rather at all, but I just want to mention that, of course, there is an understandable but also very uninformed criticism of this type of work. I do want to mention it. Maybe some of you will even reach that on feeling of, hey, how dare you? Why do you just film them? I would have saved them instead. Like, how can you just watch them getting killed? Or how can you even be there and let this happen? And in many presentations and speeches, I will talk about this in great length, and also with a lot of compassion and understanding for this irritation. And obviously, that's a natural thought that might occur. For some of you in the audience who maybe are also animal rights activists, this is an easy response in your head already. And I'm happy to just share with you that it is very hard to get into those situations. We sometimes really risk our own lives by lying to employees, getting ourselves inside, for example, pretending to be students. And sometimes we do get inside through open communication. We tell them who we are, and through love-based activism, I've been so lucky to be on the kill floor filming as an activist, and it was allowed to me. But anyways, what I want to say is in those scenarios, it's impossible to take out a heavy pig or a heavy cow and carry them out of the slaughterhouse when knives are being sharpened around you. So it's animal liberation is not always to be seen that literate. I think that's the term in English, or literal. It can be, sometimes we have to focus on the bigger picture. If I happen to steal an animal inside from the slaughterhouse, first of all, I might get hurt badly, but secondly, I might ruin a relationship with a place that lets me film inside. So to rescue one life versus to continue to show the reality, it would be rather selfish of me to just save one, but then never be allowed back in, and also make it harder for anyone else within the animal rights community to go in and try to help animals in their own way. Okay, again, I want to show you some footage just so you get a little bit of an idea of what it looks like when you bear witness, when you spend time with animals and film them, of course, for the bigger cause, inside a slaughterhouse. So let's just go ahead. Again, no worries, we won't show the killing. This is just before. Here you see me in Indonesia. This is a dairy calf. They had to witness I think what was their mom being killed while I was trying to hide the view and put myself in between the actual killing of their companion mother. It's what I assumed. And you see me smile, you see me talk. This is a show that I put on for this animal. I know that they're gonna be killed soon after, and I just want to be there for them and show them calm and love, same as, I don't know, maybe an emergency doctor would, or even a kindergarten teacher or a parent when trying to calm down someone who is already sensing the fear and sensing the reality of what's going on. So please don't misunderstand my smiling ever in those scenarios for a lightheartedness or something. It is a complete show, and I go home in agony. I would like to read this out loud for you. This is something I wrote about this baby in specifically. You can close your eyes if it feels comfortable, or you can also read along as you prefer. After every action, I write down my feelings. I have to, it's the only way keeping me somewhat sane. And I just want to share with you some thoughts that I had afterwards. Your unspeakable suffering and pain, too much to endure for such a young, precious heart. You are so brave and strong. I love you. It soon will be over, I promise. I won't leave. I will stay with you until the end. For a moment, time doesn't seem to exist. The room is only filled with you and me. Nothing but your contagious purity. No darkness can touch our little light that surrounds us. This shining ray is ours for a split second. We breathe together and I feel your pain. I wish I could take it away. I try to smile to be a rock for you, but I'm crying on the inside in agony. I want to fly you to another universe and forever run with you through the fields. Your red blood turning into red flowers, sunshine soothing, healing your body. Bees in the air. Your mother wasn't killed before your eyes, and your short life won't be taken next. There is no other universe, just this one life. No time left. Slaughterhouses kill. We need to act today. Shine and give light. Be vegan and get active. The animals need you on their side. This was a caption on a social media post about this baby. Here is a photo of the killing, the actual killing and dying of this calf. It's not graphic as in the sense you don't see the dying part. Obviously, we made a video of the beautiful calf dying and me trying to pet them until they were gone. This is obviously highly, what's the word in English? What's the word? When you cut it, it's highly cut. It's just an idea for you what this line of works looks like, but also what the dairy industry looks like. And maybe it can make your voice even louder. Next time someone orders a normal milk in their coffee, you can tell them what's normal about it and show them, not literally show them, but tell them about any dairy cow that has to go through this sort of pain that we can somewhat try to imagine here. This is one of my dearest animals I've ever met. I met so many, and of course it's not a competition. It also doesn't matter what I feel, but this was one of the most special moments in my life. I was bearing witness to this beautiful cow. Right after the calf was being killed, I still was overflooded with blood from the calf. And I laid next to this beautiful cow, which you can't see in this video, but had really bad panic attacks. Their eyes would just like open widely, and the breathing was getting so heavy. And this beautiful cow was with ropes torn down to the ground, couldn't run away. And I was there pretending to be a student, so pretending to not care all too much, which I didn't succeed well enough, I guess, but okay, at least nothing happens and they let me My activist colleagues told me, like, Lena, you can't show that much emotion. You can't show how you feel about this cow. You gotta get up now. You gotta leave that cow. We gotta leave now. Okay, one more thing I want to read about this beautiful cow. Again, if you want, close your eyes. Otherwise, leave them open. Read with me or take a moment to sip of water or something that nourishes you. You haven't left my thoughts for a split second since the night you were... Sorry, I can't see. Yeah, since the night you were murdered. All my love is yours. Our faces together, our skin touching. No feeling for time nor place. This memory forever is burnt in my heart. Your breathing was everything. Your eyes looking into mine was all we had. I found you laying down, chained so tight to the ground that you weren't able to move even the slightest. I had just watched the baby being killed right before my eyes and had stayed by his side until he took his last breath, when I went outside to find you. I was already covered in blood, and I thought my heart couldn't break into more pieces. Your moaning and desperation was even worse than what I had just seen. Panic rushed through your body every couple of seconds, and in a state of frightening fear, you would try to flee with all the power left in your body. Your breathing became so intense and heavy, my words couldn't calm you down for long. For a while, you followed my own calm breath when I was trying my best to guide you through this horrible catastrophe. You were so brave, and I'm bowing my head to your incredible strength. There was no escaping, and the knives were being sharpened to slide through your precious body. I can't. Please end animal slaughtering. Let them live. Be vegan. Become active for the animals. And if I would write this now, I would add, don't consume dairy. Don't believe the dairy lie. Okay. Here's just one more picture of this situation. It's burned in my heart forever. So from witnessing this quite particular hell on earth to doing outreach, as painful as these stories are, they are so powerful, and I can share them. We all can share them. We are a collective, and some of us do the videotaping, the others do the research work behind, and the others are the ones who speak up to people and their families and friends and share about dairy and the meat industry. For me, the most important key takeaways from these experiences are that dairy is liquid meat. The dairy industry is the slaughterhouse industry. This is not two different separate industries. It is one industry. Animals need us to share the truth. I don't need to tell you guys. I'm happy to be in this safe space where we all agree that animals need us and need our support, and we owe it to them to tell their stories. Finally, I want to just show you a little bit what we're gonna do at International Calf and Cow Mother's Day action in Vienna, Austria, as well as in other cities around German-speaking countries, in Germany and Austria and so on. So in Vienna particular, we will be at a very lively city square. We have already registered our demonstration. There's loads of sunny cafes and lots of people. It's a very positive, sunny spot where people love to hang out. We will have a little stage where we can tell stories and have short speeches. I'm so honored and so excited, and there's nothing I look forward to more than speaking as a pregnant mother myself in solidarity with animal mothers and babies. In the past, many years ago, I've attended anti-milk protests or Mother's Day events, and I happened to see some pregnant women speaking, or even mothers with babies on their arms, and I always was in such awe, and I always thought, oh my gosh, how beautiful is it to speak up on behalf of animals in this manner, this very loud manner, right? Like without even having to say anything. It's crystal clear. It's the connection between a mother's bond and their baby, and the injustice that is happening in the dairy industry. It is so obvious to anyone, I think, who will listen to whoever pregnant person speaking. I'm just very glad that I can do this time around, and I, not for selfish reasons, but only to represent motherhood and solidarity for animals. We will be having a performance with milking machines. So activists that are read as women will be wearing like these self-made milking machines, as seen here from my beautiful colleagues in Italy. We will have a milk, what is it called? Like a milk, a big milk, what's the word in English? A milk thing, as you can see in the picture, standing there. So it will be very visually pleasing. And I think that we will try to not irritate the people all too much, but invite them in and not have them be like, oh, how dare you? What is this going on? So we might, in our case, not use the blood in the private area that my Italian colleagues chose to use. Also, we will have some live acoustic music with familiar songs that will hopefully invite people to get curious and think like, oh, I love this song, and come listening and see what this is all about, and then woof, be overwhelmed with all the things we are there to show them. As well as some animal rights songs. So we'll have songs that are well known, like Eric Clapton, Tears in Heaven, which fits the theme quite well, but people recognize and love. So we'll try to use that as well. So we'll have a bit of a social event happening. We'll have poetry reading with a parent and their child. We'll have an outreach table with flyers so that we can have outreach and conversations with people. We have a specific dairy flyer that we hand out that very day. And of course, we want to show the reality of the animals. We will have video screens, but also a little exhibition of photos taken from the dairy industry. Because we are standing there on behalf of the animals, we show what it would look like, the exploitation of a mother would look like for a human person. But we want to obviously show the real victims and show the reality of things. So that's really important to us. And therefore, we couldn't do this action without the photo exhibition, because we only think it's fair to always focus on the animals. Like, use us, yes, but always focus back on the animals, because that's what in the end of the day is all that matters. We're just trying to find a way of getting to people, of reaching people. Okay, I think this is it. I'm looking forward to seeing you again, because somehow I don't see anyone. I hope you're still there. I want to thank you again. I send you love and light always. Please reach out to me if I can help you in any way, shape, or form. I want to thank everyone in the audience for doing what you can do to make this world a better place, whatever it may be. We are in this together. I'm very honored to be in this beautiful animal rights community, in this climate healing community. And yeah, I'm here for any questions you might have. And yeah, very excited to be here with you. Thank you again. And now I'll stop sharing and hopefully I'll get to see you. Let's see. Oh, you're still here. Wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Lena Ella, for your wonderful presentation and powerful presentation. And both to you and to Dana, thank you so much for your incredible work for the animals. It's just mind-blowing what you are doing. And I know that I have been interviewing Dana before, and I know how she's out, in 30 minus degrees, documenting, horse shipping and calves and cows in the middle of the night, even if she has children at home. And I hear about your work, Lena Ella. It's just amazing, and it's so inspiring. And I just have one question before we see if we have any questions from the audience. Do you feel that your work also is inspiring like others, even like non-vegans? And it would be nice to just hear a little bit. I know that Dana, usually you bring your children to vigils and to manifestations and everything. It's like super inspiring, and it would just be nice to hear a little bit how you, what reactions you get from others through your wonderful work.
I think for a long time, my children were the only kids at events, but in the last, I'd say, year or 6 months, there have been a few other children coming out, and which is really positive and really encouraging for my kids as well to see other kids participating and joining. And then they kind of have like a little team for themselves as well. And and I think that even if people are not vegan, they're still watching us, what we're doing and what's happening, and they're becoming open to things. I know my family often, they are not vegan, my parents and my sister and my brother, but they ask questions about what we're doing and the work we're involved in. And I think that their hearts are opening that way, and broader family and friends who might not be ready to do anything like that right now, but they're definitely watching. People are watching.
Yeah, maybe I can also add that I think through our work with Animal Safe Movement and our overall very compassionate approach, we are not as threatening as one could see us. And so I think we have an ability to just reach people, even if they don't necessarily agree with all the things we do and say. But they can see that we come from a good place. And I think that leading with a very non-judgmental way of also understanding where people come from and not sitting on a high horse, that's not a vegan saying, not sitting uh, high and thinking, oh, how, I'm so special, I'm vegan, I care for animals. I studied sociology. I'm well aware that everything around me made me a compassionate being, and I could be very well a slaughterhouse worker in a different life with different situations, of course. So I think that helps people not feel so threatened by us, and that also helps for them to hopefully make a change. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think we have some questions from the audience. Maybe I can have some help to see who can talk, please. Anja, for instance, would you like to talk?
Yeah, hi everyone, and Dana and Lena, I'm in absolute awe of your work. I started crying. I'm from Germany, and I've way back when I was in Germany, I visited two slaughterhouses myself, and those impressions have never left me, and they have literally traumatized me for the rest of my life. And so the question I had, Anne actually already asked that question, but I'm just wondering, where do you find the strength to do this kind of work? And especially because you are both so compassionate, such compassionate people, where do you find the strength to continue with your work? And thank you very much.
Thank you, Anja. Maybe I'll just go first, and then next question you go first. If yeah. I think I find strength in realizing that in those various situations, I'm not the victim, and I have this inner strength once I meet an animal, just a suffering being. Same as with someone who is sick, you bring them soup, you try to comfort them, you massage their feet, you are the strong one in that scenario, and that makes you be able to do all the things you need to do to make it a little bit better. I mean, there's only so little we can do, obviously. And I don't want to lie to you, I'm on antidepressants. It could be for personal reasons that are way beyond animal rights activism. It could be highly related to it. I don't know. For me, I'm better on them at the moment. So yeah, I think, to be honest, it can be tough. And it is certainly something that it's a scar that most people won't be able to see, but others in our movement will see and care deeply for those scars and, make them feel better. But yeah, we are wounded beings, but as in any profession that tries to help others, like nurses and whatnot, I mean, I could name so many, like, just try to be a bit selfless, and yeah, a good foundation with family and friends, I think is also what it needs.
I would like to add, if I could, just it is for the animals and to center them. And I feel that I'm in a place where I can go out and document and bring their stories to people And part of it, the strength comes from my children, knowing that I would love to give them a better world. I remember going to the store with my daughter. This was a few years ago. She was really little. And she went into the fish department, and we never go into the meat department, but she went into the fish and she picked up, it was a whole fish on a plastic tray with plastic over it. And she had never seen anything like that. And she said, Mommy, what is this? What's happening? I wish this wasn't happening. And I remember saying to her, honey, I wish this wasn't happening either. I wish we had a better world to give you. And that's part of it for me, is just we want to have a better world for our kids. The things that are happening, we protect our children from because we know they're not right. So for me, part of the strength also comes from my kids.
Thank you so much. We actually are out of time.
We'll take two more questions, if that's okay. And we'll take Rebecca and great.
Hi, hello everyone. I quickly ask my question. I went to a slaughterhouse recently, and I told my son about it, and he's not vegan. He's 25 years old, and he was very angry with me for telling him about the experience. And he said that what you are doing is you're taking out your personal trauma on me. You're dumping your personal trauma on me. So I apologized to him, and I have tried my best to keep him out of the activism, which I keep doing all the time. But I don't know how to connect with him anymore. I don't feel like connecting with him actually. So how do I mean, this is a very basic questions which most vegans face, I'm sure.
Lena, do you want to go first?
Sure, I could definitely speak to that. It can be really difficult, and I will share. My husband is amazing, but when we first got together, I was vegan and he was not, and it was hard sometimes. But I remember that we would talk about that, and I wanted him to go vegan when he was ready for his decision. I did not want to be a person that pushed him to go vegan because he was in a relationship with me. I wanted to come from him. And it actually happened many years later after several things, but my daughter would point to something on the counter and say, Daddy, are you still drinking cow's milk? And then because of her sort of persistence, and among other things as well, that was the time that he was ready to become vegan and to talk more about these things. And so I would just, if I could offer anything, I would say to be patient with them and to keep doing what you're doing. But it can be difficult. But I would encourage you just to be patient and to find friends who support you or family that support you as well. Lena?
Yes, I agree. And I also want to thank you for all you do for animals and for trying. And your son is not ready yet, and you will find a way, he will find a way. And again, try to have understanding and empathy for his journey, but also staying strong with your beliefs, and you will lead the way. You will show him what it looks like to care for animals and be a kind, compassionate being. Good luck with that. Always reach out if you need anything.
Thank you so Thank you so much. Yeah.
Just one more question from Rebecca Ann, and then we will move on to our next guest. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm very moved, but I will ask the question about pregnant cows. It's my understanding from what I have read, and I wonder if you can reinforce this or tell me I'm wrong, but I believe that about 50% to 70% of the cows in the dairy industry that are killed are pregnant when they're killed. And I wonder if you have any numbers to verify that, or if you have any questions about how I got those numbers.
I personally can't confirm this because I simply don't know. So maybe one of the other ladies knows. I would have to research myself as well. But if in case no one can answer, I'm happy to research and get back to you, and then we'll know for sure. But I would be uncomfortable saying something I'm not sure of. Yeah.
Thank you. I think that's one of the things we need to know. I think they try to keep the cows pregnant all the time, and so they won't know when they're about to fall down, so they have to make those decisions. So I would love to hear more from your research and your perspective from what you find out. Anybody? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you both of you for coming, and it was just an amazing speech. And thank you for everything you're doing for the animals.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In the early morning quiet, when the fields are breathing slow, there's a mother calling softly for the child she came to know. We took her milk, we took her baby, called it custom, called it need. But the earth remembers every bond we break to feed our greed. Bring the cows back to their mothers, bring the milk back to the young. Let no baby be taken before their life's begun. Bring them home to their mothers, let their bodies tell the truth. What was made for loving was never ours to use. She knows him by his breathing, by the sound beneath his cry, by the way the dawn is shining in his dark and liquid eyes. This is more than instinct speaking, more than nature's simple way. This is a love that crosses species, older than the word away. Bring the cows back to their mothers, let the circle still be whole. What is taken breaks the planet, what is love restores the soul. Bring them home to their mothers, let compassion be our guide. Every child beside their mother, every mother with her child. I have walked where moose give birth, where the cows lay down to calve. Placenta on the forest floor, a boundary sacred, raw and vast. I did not belong inside that circle, and she let me know it true. She ushered me back from the forest, from her home, where she belonged, not you. Bring the cows back to their mothers, honor where the birth blood lies. There are laws older than markets, written in the mother's eyes.
This last year, the krill fishery took 650,000 metric tons out of the Southern Ocean. And this is literally taking the food out of the mouths of whales and penguins, seabirds and seals. These species are being severely impacted by the greed of the krill fishery.
And out beyond the breaking waves, where the great blue mothers roam, there are calves beneath the surface, learning oceans as their home. We reach deep for tiny bodies, scoop the krill from living seas. But that food was made for mothers and the young they hold and feed. Leave the krill for ocean mothers, leave the seas to feed their young. Let the whales and gentle giants raise their babies strong and sound. Bring them home to their mothers, land and ocean, hoof and fin. When we stop what's not ours to take, the healing can begin. We are waking from a long divided dream, where we fed on domination, then called violence routine. Now a wider love is moving through our hands and what we choose. Every meal a sacred promise that no mother has to lose. Beloved, stand beside me with your feet upon the ground. Let our lives be living answers choose, let protection make it sound. This is how the world turns gentle. This is how the old ways end. When we choose the mother-child bond again and again and again. Bring the cows back to their mothers. Let the mothers keep their.
It's a tiny bit less than 80 acres. I have Jersey cows, Holstein cows, a yak.
She estimates she's rescued about 158 cows.
And most cows don't get to live like this. It makes me happy.
Tack Ryder says she got to know cows working at a dairy farm in 1976.
The cows were just wonderful, and when they stopped making milk, they got slaughtered.
She decided to create the sanctuary after tragedy struck.
Huge storm, and I found all these dead cows in the field. The first cows I had were the 6 babies that survived the lightning storm.
She wrote a children's book about that experience, with proceeds benefiting the nonprofit, which she runs herself.
We feel entitled to artificially inseminate a cow, and when she gives birth, we steal her baby. Even though her cries of anguish are unmistakable,